Hey, it's awesome that you're tuning in. In today's video, we are going to be taking a close look at the race buggy. Actually, this isn't really a race buggy, it's more like a monster truck. There are two variations. We do have the buggy itself and the monster truck we're having over here. However, it doesn't really matter because they have the same specification, 2.4 gigahertz of a controller, and they do come in this very fancy box. But the question today is this thing any, let's say, fun, or is it a complete waste of money? So on the Access store, but also in AliExpress, you can find all of these, let's say, cheaper RC cars. We live in just an amazing time where we can buy a very cheap car for a couple of dollars and maybe have a lot of fun with it. But let's do a quick unboxing together and let's see how they packed it up. The display wise, these boxes are looking quite nice. When I noticed it in the Action stores, I just needed to pick it up because that's where this thing actually came from. However, what is kind of weird, they have no battery whatsoever, and I mean a lithium battery or a LiPo battery. So we're limited to alkaline batteries, and where this is okay, and of course convenient, because you don't need to do all of the hassle of charging if you don't want to, you can just buy batteries and just actually play. However, it's not great for the environment, and personally I'm more a fan of LiPo batteries, 1, 2 or maybe 3S, they have more power, but this is more like a budget solution and maybe a fun car to start racing and get a little bit of the hang of it, because most of these cars are not fast at all. So packaging itself, first impression, it's quite positive. And the reason why it's positive, because this thing looks kind of good. They have these fast clips that we can remove for removing the plastic cover. Yeah, however, I don't know if there's any spare parts, so far I understand. So I don't even know where I can buy the special parts. However, the plastic is very flexible. So let's get this thing out of the box and let's see. So they're using these very nice looking, I think I was thinking it was like maybe a screw or a lock mechanism, but it's a screw mechanism in the end. Okay, we can just remove them. And also the remote has been assembled on the same way. So far I've seen there is not really a manual, it's just an overall specification sheet with some basic explanation. And it also seems to be the same importer that I've seen before with previous RC cars. For the money, I do wonder what kind of quality, when it comes to the remote. I love these remotes, they're like for me the authentic remotes, and I'm very used to these things. So we do need a couple of batteries, I think about 2 AAAs. The racing wheel, it's not a pot meter, it's more like a click micro switch underneath. So it's the same stuff that we've seen before with just press buttons, only it's a different way. So I'm very curious if this is going to be any good for playing, let's say, with the racing car itself. But let's open it up. So for the remote, we're just going to be using, let's say, an A-Force battery. But I think it's not going to be even a problem if you're having like a cheaper brand. I think the most important part is if you're going to be using the alkaline batteries, to having a good brand for not only the remote. The remote is important, but it's more important when it comes to the RC car, simply to do of the power that's going to be needing. But let's do a quick overview of the RC car. This 1/ton scale is quite impressive, particularly when you're just paying like $20 for it. The tires are having some nice patterns and will give some grip. They have the soft touch, so I think it's absolutely great. They're using the rubber wheels. There's not a lot of power. Also, this thing comes with suspension, and suspension, not like hydraulic, but something basic. But everything is made out of plastic, but not in a bad way. So if you're going to be bashing into something, I think it's not going to be breaking fairly easy. Or it's quite impressive to see what they can make for not a lot of money. So the mechanism is working with 2 springs that will have a little bit of a wiggle to it. But the same stuff is, if it's going to be bashing into the wall, you don't need to be afraid that's going to be breaking off fairly easy. So but the construction is something I didn't see before. It's quite interesting to see, and it works so far. I have tested it out already. Moving on to the battery compartment, we're having the on-off switch over here. We're going to be putting it on-off, and we're going to be putting in the batteries. And this thing, home run, it needs a lot of batteries, 6 in total. So it's quite a lot. And if you're going to be using alkaline batteries, not rechargeable, it's going to be taking a lot of batteries over time. And I don't know exactly how long we can drive on these things, depending on over milliamp and how good they are. For example, the GPs are 2000 plus milliamp each, and if you're going to be buying them, let's say from a different brand, I don't know how much and how long you actually have the fun. I'm hoping a lot of hours, and the simple reason, if you're going to be using normal alkalines, you can better buy them in a pack of 50 or maybe 100, and yeah, still it will cost you a lot of money to drive around with this RC car. But let's power on the remote first. So it's going to be searching the connection, then power on the vehicle itself. And another thing I want to check out, how is the steering? It's the same steering that we've seen before. I do have the micro switches. There's a little bit of a delay in this, so the convenient part is that we can make a U-turn fairly easy, but not to the point it's going to be impossible to drive, let's say, around the track. So that's absolutely great. So I'm quite surprised with it. It also has like a lot of power when it comes to this, but let's test it out. So first of all, we're going to be testing it on some normal ground, and you can just see this thing accelerates quite okay. So it's not going to be like super fancy, because within one as a LiPo or like multiple cells, you have so much more power and a better motor. But for the money you're paying for it, is absolutely bad at all. However, if you're going to be getting into the grass, so I think that was one of the things I bought this thing for, to check it out. It would be cool to go to the forest and just drive around there. However, you can see that it does struggle a lot. It does need a little bit of time for starting acceleration. And that can have to do with the battery itself, but it's going to be checking out later on. So from the, let's say, the normal ground or gravel going into the grass, if you have some momentum, it's going to be okay. And it's going to be a lot of fun, but this is not like this crazy rally racing or some kind. Not at all incontinary. It's going to be a little bit of a fun. Okay, so the gravel, same situation over here. Or at least by not almost same situation. We do have a little bit of a traction problem. But in general, it's not bad at all, and I'm stuck. I don't know exactly what kind of mechanism they're using in the inside, what kind of differential, but you can see when actually one is not touching the ground, the other one will start spinning. But not like the point, let's say if you're having one wheel, it's going to be transfer all of the power. So you need to have like both wheels on the ground to have like the best overall experience and acceleration of this car. So when we're going to be switching from the GP charge, I fully charged them and then I was putting them in the car. But maybe I need to charge them a little bit more. Don't know, just picked up those, let's say, basic chargers. Let's put some A-Force batteries in it, fresh ones, just to see how the traction is. And I do have the idea that it's slightly better now. You can see on the grass, it doesn't have like a little bit more time needed. It automatically accelerates. It's not like still a super fast car, but the overall experience is absolutely better. So when it comes to the gravel, of course, it feels now so much better. So the batteries are super important. And of course, we're having the ground itself, but that was already no problem whatsoever. This is not like a super fast car, but it's a lot of fun when you're looking at it. We did have some differences between the GP batteries, but I'm not going to be writing it off, saying that this is not going to be a good solution. I'm just going to be needing a different charger maybe, but yeah, an A-Force battery, maybe it will have a little bit of a more advantage, more power. So there's something I cannot find any information on the website of these manufacturers. It's something I really need to make sure before I'm going to be investing more recharger batteries and one massive charger. Because I do have a lot of RC cars that work with batteries and keep buying these things. Not only for the environment, that is not good, but also for my wallet. It's not a good situation at all. If you have some problems with the front alignment, you can just do some realigning at the front over here with this tiny white knob. It does have like a lot of resistance, by the way. We can remove the cover fairly easy by pulling this piece of plastic out there using plastic pins. A very easy way to just remove the plastic. I love this. I'm guessing with more expensive cars we're getting the metal ones, but beside that, in the inside there's nothing much you see. We should like do a disassembly. You can see we can have like a different height if you want to change out the plastic on a different height. That is all possible with this particular model. But beside that, I love the springs on this thing, and it runs quite nice, even if you're going to be having different kind of, like say, undergrounds like grass or gravel. It's all possible. And the differential that they're actually using, it's a very ingenious part, but if you're going to be having one wheel left from the, let's say, the ground, yeah, you know, you're missing out a lot of power, and you notice that this thing doesn't drive that well, or at least acceleration. Consider subscribing, and yeah, let me know in the comments what is your favorite kind of size of car. This is an absolutely fun thing to get if you just want to start driving around. So for the overall part, I am not super excited because I was hoping for a little bit more power so we can drive through like sand and other kind of cool stuff and having a little bit more power. But for the money, I think we cannot really complain.